How's it going, guys? So in today's tutorial, we are going to be making this animation. If you're not super comfortable with geometry nodes, don't worry. It's not a very big treat to make something really cool like this. First thing we're going to do is make a big stack of curves. Then immediately we're going to hop into the shading workspace where everything else is going to happen. So we're going to use a wave texture for the movement. We're going to randomize the position of the wave texture to get this really beautiful movement. Then using noise textures, we're going to add some really cool color, and then we're going to add some compositing to polish it off. If you want to check out the project file, that is available currently on Patreon. And this month I added a bunch of really cool tutorials that I personally just had a lot of fun working on. They're a little bit different than what I normally do, and they're just really cool. I'm working on a bigger video for here on YouTube, but for now, all of those tutorials are available exclusively on Patreon. You can get everything, so check that out, linked in the description. And with that being said, let's get into this tutorial. All right, so we are gonna be using Blender 5.0. There's really only one thing that we're doing that is kind of very specific to 5.0, and that's not really super important. So let's go ahead, I'm hit Shift-A, and we're going to get a plane, and I'm going to head right into geometry nodes to get this started. Or I'm going to click new, and we're going to delete the input, and we're going to get in a mesh line. Grab the mesh line and plug that right into geometry. Now we have a line of a count of 10, which means there's 10 spots to add a curve. So what we're going to do, we're going to get an instance on points so we can add things to those points, and we're going to get a curve circle. Very important that it's a curve circle, not a mesh circle. And then we're going to plug curve right into instance. There we go. We have all 10 of our curves. I'm going to give myself a radius of 7, and then I'm going to give myself a resolution of 80. Now we need to bring these down. They're too spaced out. So what we can do is right here on the Z, give it 0.07. Those are my exact settings on my scene. And then I'll give myself 120 of these curves. So now we have something pretty cool ready to go. Let's go ahead and get our camera set up. So first, here in geometry nodes, I'm going to bring this guy kind of to the middle. I'm going to hit tab. I'm going to hit the tilde key and go to the front. If you didn't know, wherever your viewport is facing, when you add a camera, that's where that camera is going to be facing. So we can cut out a little extra work and just get it looking where we want. So I'm going to click on the camera, and then I'm going to hit 0 to go to the camera view. Before we move it, let's go ahead, click on the camera in the outliner and go to the camera settings over here. Make your focal length 8. We're making an extremely wide, very unrealistically wide camera angle. And that's how we get this really cool, super wide effect. Now I'm gonna click on the camera, hit G and middle click, and we're gonna go right where we pass up this outer ring. So right here. So we wanna just pass up so we get this really, really cool effect. That's the whole point. We have this set up and ready to go. We just need a few nodes to make the shading work for us a little bit easier. We're going to be using a wave texture to go in circles around these curves. So we need to set up an attribute so that it'll map to these curves easily. So what we're going to do is get a store named attribute. We need to get a spline parameter node and just plug factor into value and name it whatever you want. I'm going to just do S for spline. Now we need to add some geometry to these curves. So we're going to get a curve to mesh, and then we're going to get a curve circle. I'm going to give my radius 0.005. I think that was my original settings. And then a resolution of probably 3 just to make it lighter on your computer. Plug curve into profile curve. So now if we zoom in, we actually have some geometry that a material will be able to sit on. Last thing I need to do is I need some randomness to get the wave texture to randomly place on these curves. So we're gonna get one more store named attribute. I'm gonna set this over. I want it to recognize that there are instances, randomize the curve per instance. And then we're gonna get a random value node and plug value into value. And then I'm just going to call it R for random. Again, call it whatever you want. All we need to do now is set up a material. So I'm going to get a set material node right over here to the right in the material section. I'm going to click new where it says principled. I'm going to switch it over to emission, and then I'm going to place that over here. So before we head into shading, let's go here to the render settings. I'm going to switch over to Eevee. If I click on the render, you can see the emission is working, and I'm going to get my world brightness here down to black. All right, now we can head into shading. So I'm going to click on the shading workspace. We can see, here's our tube. So I'm going to go here to the official render view. And what I'm going to do here on the emission is just bring up the brightness. That'll make the curves look a little thicker. The brighter these curves, the thicker they will look. So now what we can do is add in our wave texture. So hit Shift A, WAVE, wave texture. I'm going to hit in and remove that. Then what we can do first, I'm going to get in a mix color node, plug that here and make the top one black and the bottom one pure white. And then we're going to get a color ramp so that we can plug the wave texture into that. We're just setting up some nodes on the front end to make it easier to add color and some control later. So let's plug that here and then finally plug the wave texture here. So if I bring my scale to 1, which is what I'm going to do for my final, you can see like this guy's really thick. These guys are thin. If I bring up the scale, it kind of accentuates. It's just not mapped properly to our curves. So what we can do is get that attribute that we made with the store named attribute. So we're going to get a attribute node and we're going to type in S for spline or whatever you titled it for the spline parameter attribute and plug factor right into vector. And notice now it's working properly. If I play with the phase offset, they just animate perfectly. So what I'm going to do is give my scale of 1, and then we should see a problem right here. So see that? That's a relatively easy fix with a couple nodes. I, however, that's not important because what we can do is here in the transform settings, we can just literally rotate it out of sight, out of mind. We don't have to worry about that. So let's just, we can move past that little error. Other tutorials I've had, we have to kind of dance around the problem. I don't like doing that. Maybe a scale of 2. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna switch this color ramp to B-spline so that when we crunch it in, it's a really smooth gradient here on the edge. It's just gonna make it look more beautiful. So what I wanna do now is the phase offset is gonna be the animation, but also the phase offset is positioning it around, and I wanna randomize where this pillar, essentially, this wave is positioned on each one of the curves. And so we made an attribute for that. So let's get an attribute. Because we had it recognize instances, we're going to click on the instancer and R for random, because we titled it R. Plug factor into phase offset, and you'll already see it starting to work just like that. And so when you see a movement happen, for example, random is moving a little bit, but it's not as the strong as of an effect as you want, you can use a multiply. So if you get a math node and set that to multiply, if I bring it to 0, it just completely cancels the effect. But if you can actually multiply it, I'm gonna go over here so we can see it better. You can multiply that effect. So just like that. I'm gonna give it a value of 10, so you can't see a wave anymore. You just see random, just randomness. And so the animation is gonna come from another wave texture. Here's a trick though. If you go to a multiply add, you get access essentially to the phase offset again. And so if you just play with add, it will just simply rotate around just like that. If that's the animation you want, that's how you can do it. However, I don't want to do that. I want more randomness. So we get another wave texture, plug it here, and then I'm gonna give it a scale of 1. I think that's what we're gonna do. And then if you play with the phase offset, now they move randomly. Essentially what's happening is each one of these waves are going left, right, and kind of randomly. And so because there's so many of them, it's kind of overwhelming and you can't tell that like one's just going back and forth. It's really cool. And it's a very easily loopable animation. The more you multiply it, so say if I just go like a small multiplication, whenever you play with the phase offset, it will be quite obvious. So that's why we did a multiplier of 10, but the more you multiply it, the faster they're going to go back and forth because they're traveling a farther distance. All right, now that we have this, let's get a little bit of control over the brightness. Right now, every curve is the same brightness, and it doesn't make it quite as dynamic and easy to look at. So this is how you make it look a little better. Bring your emission down so you can kind of see the strength. I'm going to get a map range. and we're going to get this randomness attribute right here, and we're just going to plug the factor into the value. So this guy from this guy. They're kind of far apart, but that's fine. And then we'll plug result right into strength. And so now 2 minimum, 2 maximum is your strength. So the maximum is the maximum brightness. So if you bring it up, everything's going to get bright because the effect isn't super strong yet. The from minimum is going to start to crunch that effect in. So now randomly, some of them are going to go to a 0. So if you give it like a strength of 1, you can see now some of them are a strength of 1. So I'll just give it just barely. So now, so if we bring this back to 0, they're all there. And then now we're randomly removing a few. So that's what I want to do to create some of them to be really bright and create these beautiful highlights in the design, but we still get to appreciate the amount of detail with the fact that there's 120 curves, but only a few of them are super bright. Now the easiest way to really see how nice this effect is, I'm going to bring my maximum value to be like 50 for now, is go to your I'm actually going to render a frame, go to your compositor, and then click new. And what we're going to do is search up a glare node. Boom, just like that, and switch it over to bloom. And now you can much better see the highlights. I'm going to do something that I'm going to be insufferable about for the next couple of years, is this sensor noise preset. And this is the Blender 5.0 specific thing. I'm going to bring the chroma noise down, make it animated, and bring up the luma a little bit. So now we need to add some color into this. Now you can add color right here in the glare node. You can do that. Every part that has glare, you can now add color, which gives you some really cool control even after you add color in the shading. So just remember that. What I'm going to do is we're going to head back into shading. Right up here, you can hit this drop down and click on always so you can see your compositor effects. And then I'm going to bring my maximum brightness up quite a bit to like 180 or whatever. Let's go ahead and add color. That's why we used this mixed color node rather than just plugging a color ramp right into the color. So I'm going to give myself a good amount of space because we need to add a color ramp right into this. So this guy represents color that we can add. So I'm just going to go like right over here so we can see everything. I'm going to get a color ramp just like that. And we're going to get a noise texture. And I'm going to hit Control T. If you have the Node Wrangler add-on, it'll do that. Otherwise, just search up a mapping node and a texture coordinate. Use the object coordinate, and I'm going to plug factor right into color ramp. And then really quickly, I'm just going to do this. Notice how it creates this like weird line effect. That's because we're using instances in geometry nodes. I'm not going to explain it super detailed. All I can tell you is the way that essentially the same noise texture is getting duplicated on everything. That's why it's a line. So what you can do is if you're using the object coordinate, get the eyedropper and just select this whole thing. Now the shading is going to distribute the material across the whole thing, and it treats the whole thing like it's one object larger rather than duplicating. It's hard to explain this on a whim, but it's a cool fix. Regardless, now we have this cool thing. And if I bring up I'm gonna bring my detail to 0. I'm gonna bring up my scale to a really low value. So now we have it like this. What I want to do is it is like very much still a noise texture. See how you can see like a splotch, a splotch, a splotch, very noise texture-y. What I want to do is squish the noise texture so that rather than being these big circles, it's squished and kind of complements the fact that there's these lines going around. So what I'll do is I'll give it like a value of, well, we'll just watch it. So bring it up in a positive value. And notice how it's starting to look, it's starting to complement because it's getting thinner, these lines. So these are some of those things that as you're figuring out, how do I make my animations look really cool? Start thinking about things like that and notice how textures are applied on other things. So now it looks pretty cool. It looks the same again. So let's go ahead and add 3, hit this little plus icon right here, and let's add 3 color nodes. And just like I titled it on Instagram, when in doubt, just make it RGB. I was struggling with color, and I was like, just make it RGB. So click on the black one right here. You can see if you're on HSV, just click it over to RGB. Go red. Click on this one. Bring red down to 0 if it'll let me. Bring green all the way up. And then, of course, Same thing, make sure blue is all the way up. So now we have this, looks pretty awesome. I'm going to make my scale like 0.2, so it's really big. And then now you're at the point where like, okay, we can bring up the brightness some more to really punch it. Don't be afraid to get this value to be something that seems kind of obnoxious. That's like totally okay. We're really just pushing this to be beautiful and bright. So now what you can do is just like move around. Say like, okay, maybe there's too much blue. We'll bring the blue out, bring the green in. Now you have more. You can add some more red. So play around with the position of, you know, these nodes. I tend to prefer it to be a little more blue heavy. I think it's more beautiful that way. And then also on the noise texture, you can go from 3D to 4D, and then you can also kind of randomize where things are. And while you're animating, you can also animate the position of the W as well, so that the colors don't stay still if that's something that bothers you. Now all we need to do is animate it and we're done. Let's add one more detail. Let's go here to the wave texture, right here, the second one, not the first one, but the last one right by the attribute. And let's play with our phase offset. So I'm gonna go over here and give myself a timeline and give myself 300 frames. And then be sure, if you go to edit, preferences, animation, be sure your default interpolation is linear so that it's a perfectly seamless loop. And then hit the back arrow to frame 0. So let's go ahead, and the way you loop a wave texture or a add math node is with pi rather than 360-degree rotation. So we're gonna hit I on phase offset, go to the very end, and I'm gonna type in 2 asterisk pi. I think that'll be too slow. Nope, it's perfect. It's probably perfect, let's see. Yeah. Okay. It's animated. We're literally done. You can see how these lines are moving around. They're really beautiful. If you want it to be faster, do 4 times pi, 6 times pi. I mean, like 4 asterisk pi, 6, an even number asterisk pi, and that'll make it faster. But 2 is the slowest. So if 2 is too fast for you, give yourself like 600 frames, 1,000 frames. So the more frames will slow it down if 2 is too fast for you. But that's it. We're completely done. We're totally done. And this is our final animation. I mentioned you can add color in the compositor. I'm going to render a frame, and then here in the compositing, you can totally like force another color into this. It'll kind of goof it around, so be careful with it. And then also you can make it stronger as well to make it brighter if you want to do that. But we are completely done. My export settings are always a PNG, so I would say if you want to have fun, 1920 by 1080, if you type in 200, it's 4K now. If you're doing screen visuals, I would probably say 29.97 frames a second. PNG, pick a folder where you store it, render animation, and you're totally done. So there you guys go. That is how you make this animation. I think it's really beautiful. Hope you learned something. Again, this project file is available on Patreon along with a bunch of other really cool tutorials that are exclusively on there. So if you want to check those out, hit the link in my bio. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next one.